Good morning. Welcome to day 12, everybody. So, to hop right in, today is one of those things people don't like to talk about, right? So, it's self confidence, self worth, self esteem, how internally we feel about ourselves. Why is this important though? How we feel about ourselves and how much worth we give to ourselves is a direct cause of substance use, like starting it in the first place. Like studies have found that, the lower your self-worth, your self-esteem, these kinds of things, like social rejection, shit like that, the more likely you are to use. So therefore, on the other hand of things, if you have these things in place, the more likely you are to be able to sustain recovery, to not feel the pressure in those peer situations. You think highly enough of yourself that you don't want to do that to yourself, right? I mean, it's easy. We talked about this the other day, right? How when you're in active addiction or feeling some way about yourself, it's very easy to put yourself down. Like, yeah, I'm a real piece of shit. I know this. I'm a terrible person. Like, we so easily put ourselves down and give ourselves, less worth than we deserve. So we have to work on it. And that's the part that people don't like. It's very hard to say nice things about yourselves. Every time I'm doing the treatment plan with somebody, I'll ask them, like, all right, what are your strengths? Like, tell me, like, things about yourself that you like. And that is the hardest part. They can tell you the problems. They can tell you how they're going to work on it. They can tell you why it's a problem. But once you ask, what are your strengths? What do you got going for you? We kind of shut down. We've been kind of put into the society to feel like we can't talk about ourselves. We can't be proud of ourselves because we're arrogant or we're vain or we're narcissistic. People just love throwing around like diagnoses like that, right? Narcissism and all these things. Just because we care about ourselves doesn't make it a bad thing, right? Like, we have to feel good about ourselves. We have to understand our worth. And let's break that down a little bit. So, self esteem is kind of what we think about ourselves, like our feelings, our beliefs. Whereas our self worth is knowing that we are worthy humans, that we deserve things. We deserve to be happy. We deserve to be loved. We're valued as a person. So, the things that lead to this, I mean, it's programmed pretty early in life, right? So, social rejection is one that it stays with us. So, when we're younger, these things happen, it programs in our brain, whether it's rational or not, our brain decides that's truth and it sticks with us ongoing, right? So, it's one of those harder programmed things to change, but it is something that we can change. How do we change it, right? Like, that's the question that we're looking for. All right, start off, be fucking nice to yourselves. Forgive yourselves. We all fuck up. I promise we do. And being able to forgive ourselves when we do, we don't have to put ourselves through the ringer every single time and force punishment on ourselves and just kind of continuously beat ourselves up over things. It's okay to forgive ourselves just as we forgive other people. The way we treat ourselves sometimes, we would never dream of treating another human being that way. So that's where our worth comes in, our esteem, those things where we have to let ourselves know, I can't do this to me. It's not fucking fair. And it's that self-talk in our head, right? And it may sound kind of crazy or cheesy, but it's easy for our natural thoughts in our head to be like, oh, you really fucked up this time. Change that. Stop yourself. Question yourself. Like, no, stop it. Don't talk about yourself like that. Yeah, it sounds kind of cheesy, but that's what's necessary in order to kind of start making these changes, right? So the other thing that people, like I said, in our treatment planning, list your strengths. You don't have to write them down. Maybe you want to, so you have them. Go through and write about, like, what are my strengths? What is it that I'm good at, that I'm proud of myself for? We all have something, and if you don't, then you need to do a little bit more reflecting and find things. Just check yourself in your day-to-day actions, like, okay, is this something that I was good at? Another way to learn what our strengths are is to accept our compliments. How fucking awkward is it when we receive compliments, right? It feels all like almost itchy in our bones. Like, thank you. Like, you feel good, but you don't want to show that you feel too good because you don't want to be seen as something else. But accepting those, genuinely, thank you. You know, you don't have to put yourself down. You don't have to justify it. You don't have to give reasons like, oh, it was just lucky today, or yeah, tra-la-la, whatever the reason may be. You don't have to do that. It can just be a simple thank you, and accept it and take it to heart. Like, okay, this person actually thinks this about me. Another way is paying attention to your appearance. This is not some kind of vanity thing or make sure you're pretty, nothing to that effect. But you learn this, I don't know, I learned this in high school, but how we present ourselves or how we feel really can change our mood. Like if we dress ourselves up, if we put on a little makeup, if we do our hair, taking that extra step really makes us feel better about ourselves. It boosts our confidence. It makes us feel good. Like we are really putting our best face forward. If you just sloth out of bed and still in your jammies and like walk into the store, you're not going to feel very good. But if you take the time to like get yourself ready and put on some clean clothes and brush your hair, brush your teeth, even those things alone are going to change how you view yourself, how you feel about yourself, and what you think. Another way is to do something nice for others. This one is much easier, right? We're all for doing things for others, but something kind with nothing in return. Just be kind, hold the door, smile. Instead of being road ragey, like I'm completely guilty of, like let that car get over that stayed in the lane that was closing too fucking long. And even though they're a fucking idiot because they saw the signs just as you, just be nice and let them in, right? Like you don't have to go through that whole dialogue in your head. Sleep proper amounts, eat healthy. I mean, we talk about this all the time, and eat, sleep, exercise, right? Like apparently that's the fucking cure-all, fix-all for everything. Affirmations, people don't like these, but remember, I think it was like a Saturday Night Live skit where like, I'm good, I'm great, everybody loves me kind of thing. Those are affirmations, like telling yourself these things. Like even if you look at yourself like it jokingly in the mirror in the morning, be like, you got this kind of thing, you know? It helps. Even if you mean it in a sarcastic, funny, cheesy, dorky kind of way, it helps. It plants that seed that continues to grow. All right, so self-worth, self-esteem, self-confidence. Having the ability and belief to know that you're worth it, you're good, and you deserve it. Okay, have a good day, everybody.